Marcus hadn't slept in 3 days. Not really. The kind of sleep that restores a man, that washes the grief from his bones and sends him back into the world feeling human. That kind had been a stranger to him for almost 2 years. So when he pushed open the bathroom door at midnight, his eyes heavy and his heart heavier, the last thing he expected was to find a woman crouched in the corner of his bathtub, soaking wet, trembling like a leaf in November, staring up at him with eyes that held an entire ocean of pain. He stumbled backward. His hand hit the light switch. The fluorescent bulb flickered on. And in that pale, humming light, he saw her clearly, a young woman, maybe mid-20s, her dark hair plastered flat against her face, her clothes torn at the sleeve, dried mud on her knees. She was clutching something small and wrapped in a damp towel against her chest. And before Marcus could speak, before he could even breathe, she looked straight into his eyes and whispered, something so quietly it almost didn't exist, but he heard it. Every single word, and it changed everything. If you believe in kindness and second chances, this story is for you. Before we go any further, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs to hear this today, and subscribe to the Kindness channel, because stories like this one deserve to be heard. And tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love knowing you're out there. Marcus had been a single father for exactly 22 months. He knew the number precisely because grief keeps its own calendar. His wife, Dina, had died in a car accident on a Tuesday morning in April, on her way to buy birthday balloons for their daughter Lily's 4th birthday. She never made it home. The balloons were found in the back seat, still perfectly inflated, bright yellow and pink, swaying gently in the wreckage, while everything else in Marcus's life shattered into 1,000 irretrievable pieces. He had poured everything he had left into Lily. He worked double shifts at the hardware store on weekdays and took on odd repair jobs on weekends just to keep the lights on and food on the table. He braided her hair every morning, even though his hands were clumsy and the braids always came out uneven. He read her the same 3 books every night until he had them memorized, until the words became a kind of prayer. He told her that Mama was in the stars, and every night Lily would press her little palm against the window and say goodnight to each one. Marcus would stand in the hallway outside her door and cry as quietly as a man can cry. He had no family nearby. His mother was gone. His brother lived across the country and called on holidays, with the kind of warmth that never quite reached through the phone. Neighbors waved from driveways. Co-workers nodded in hallways. But Marcus moved through his days like a man walking, inside glass, visible to the world, but completely alone. That particular Tuesday night had been brutal in the ordinary way that exhausts a person slowly. Lily had a fever. It broke around 10, but Marcus stayed awake, pressing the back of his hand to her forehead every hour, watching her small chest rise and fall in the glow of her nightlight shaped like a crescent moon. When he finally felt sure she was safe, he had gone to the bathroom to wash his face, to try to rinse some of the day off his skin, and that was when he found her. Her name was Rosa. She whispered it like a confession. She whispered it the way people say things they haven't said aloud in a long time, words that have been locked so deep inside they've almost forgotten how to surface. She was 26 years old. She had fled her apartment 3 hours earlier after her boyfriend, a man she had tried to believe was good, had finally crossed a line she couldn't come back from. She had run into the rain with nothing, no phone, no wallet, no destination. She had tried 2 neighbors on her street. Both doors had closed in her face. She had walked until her shoes gave out, until she found herself on Marcus's street, until she saw his back door was unlocked. A careless habit of a tired man, and she had slipped inside not to steal, not to harm, but simply to be somewhere dry and safe while she figured out what to do next. And what she whispered to Marcus in that flickering bathroom light was this: "Please don't call the police. I just needed somewhere to stop being afraid for 5 minutes." Marcus stood in the doorway for a long moment. 1,000 thoughts moved through him. Caution, suspicion, the automatic instincts of a man who had been responsible for a child for nearly 2 years, alone, without a safety net. But then he looked at the bundle in her arms and realized with a start that it was moving. It was a baby, an infant, maybe 8 or 9 months old, sleeping against her chest with the impossible peace that only babies and saints seem capable of, completely unaware of the cold, the fear, the miles of darkness his young mother had just walked through. Something in Marcus broke open. Or perhaps something that had been sealed shut for too long finally remembered how to breathe. He didn't call the police. He stepped back from the doorway and told her, with a voice that surprised him with its steadiness, that there were towels under the sink, that the heat worked if she turned the dial all the way, and that there was soup on the stove from dinner that Lily hadn't finished. He told her she could stay until morning. He told her she was safe. Rosa wept, not dramatically, not loudly, the way someone weeps when they have been holding it together by sheer force of will and someone finally, without condition, offers them a place to set it down. That night, Marcus sat in his kitchen while Rosa warmed the baby's bottle and told him pieces of her story between long silences, and he told her pieces of his. Two people who had both lost something enormous, sitting under a single kitchen light at 2 in the morning, finding in each other's company the particular comfort of being truly witnessed by another human being. Rosa and her son found a shelter the next morning with Marcus's help. He drove them there himself. Lily strapped into a car seat in the back, singing softly to herself, holding out her stuffed rabbit for the baby to look at. Rosa stood at the shelter door and turned back once, and what passed between her and Marcus in that moment required no words at all. He drove home slower than usual. The city looked different somehow. Not brighter, not easier, but more populated with invisible stories, more full of people walking through their own private darknesses, all of them just needing somewhere to stop being afraid for 5 minutes. He thought about Dina. He thought about what she would have done. He already knew the answer. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment below. It means the world to this community and helps more people find stories like this one. Comment the word kindness right now if you believe that one open door can change a life. That was the night Marcus stopped moving through the world like a man inside glass. Not because everything became easy, not because grief disappeared or loneliness evaporated overnight, but because he remembered something essential, that the most ordinary moments, the ones that happen in flickering bathroom lights at midnight, are sometimes the ones that quietly, permanently rearrange the direction of a life. He had opened a door, and somehow doing so had opened something inside him too, something that felt for the first time in 22 months like the beginning of being whole.